Hi everyone and welcome to another episode of She Plays Games. Another week of isolation down. I hope you all are coping. I know I've become a bit like a bear in hibernation, but I'm so excited as the Final Fantasy VII Remake is here. Let me know if you're playing it too. I've actually started up a Discord for She Plays Games and would love for you all to check it out. You can get the link from my Twitter page at She Plays Podcast. On the note of Square Enix, on today's episode, I have Lauren Hunter, who is the producer at Square Enix Collective. Producing is something that has come naturally to Lauren, and she found her calling after spending a few years working for the media production company Hammerhead. She started there as an intern after leaving a career in finance and has never looked back. Now at Square Enix, Lauren is enjoying her time helping indie game developers get their start through Square Enix Collective. I really hope you enjoy Lauren's story, and if you like what I do, please be sure to subscribe to my podcast on your chosen platform. This is episode 17 of She Plays Games. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for coming on.
No, thank you so much for having me. It's really flattering that you asked me to come on, so I'm so happy.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like, not only are you a producer, but you're also working for one of my favorite companies. Let's just say it, Square Enix. I know it's Square Enix Collective, but it has the Square Enix in there, and you guys are obviously a part of the main core team anyway.
We do our best.
Yes. And I was really excited also to have you on the show because of what you accomplished so far. It's really inspiring. I mean, there are so many people out there who are stuck in their careers. They just sort of think like this is safe. They aren't sure what direction to take. But you were able to really hit that reset button and make the change, which is great. Had you been debating a career change for a while when you decided to take the internship at Hammerhead, or was it more of a spur of the moment type of thing?
I think I'd been debating a career change since I left university, and then every job that I had since then was just like, not like necessarily the worst job ever, but like not great and didn't fulfill me or make me happy. And as millennials, it's like our job has to, fulfill us in some way, because otherwise it doesn't feel like, why are we spending all of these hours and all of this energy and stress on something that isn't like making us happy? So yeah, and it was kind of funny as well. Like when the internship came up, I was kind of like at a point in my career, because I was working for Accenture in like a finance capacity doing boring stuff with investments and things like that. And I'd started, working towards gaining qualifications to become a financial advisor and doing all these bits and pieces. And finally, like kind of getting that like mid-late 20s, I'm finally getting a hang of everything. And I was just not, you're right. It just turned out I was just not happy. And I was looking for a way to make myself happy. And that's when it was one of my good friends and my flatmate at the time worked at Hammerhead. He was a senior producer there. And he said, look, we've got this internship. We really need the help around the studio. I know you've been like learning programming in your spare time, because that was one thing that I was doing. I was learning Swift, which is like a language for iOS, just in my spare time, just as something to kind of like, maybe in the future I could like be a programmer or something, come interview for this internship position. We'll, see if it's a fit and see if we can place you on the team. And I went along and I had a chat with the team and I had an interview, and he was like, will you join us as an intern? And I took something like a 50 or 60% pay cut. I moved back in with my parents, and I just like definitely pressed that reset button, and I have not regretted it a single day since then, even eating beans for lunch every day, like just to kind of like, save those extra pennies and like, kind of work towards something better. Like I never had a single day when I was at Hammerhead where I didn't want to go into work and I wasn't looking forward to that. And yeah, it was like an amazing place to hit that reset button and like learn some new things.
And you really touched on an interesting thing there as well, the fact that like you were practicing programming in like your spare time. I think hobbies are just so important. I mean, not necessarily that it was like a hobby, like, you know what I mean? Like it's like, you know, when you have these things that you do, because I was doing video editing for a while as a hobby, and then I evolved it into what I do now. And like, I think that's such an important thing, that if you have an interest in something, some kind of skill, and it might not necessarily be your job right now, but just keep nourishing it, keep like feeding it, because you never know that someday that might be turned into something that you can use for a future job.
Absolutely. And it's kind of like hilarious to look back on my time when I joined the Hammerhead team as like an intern with like an idea to become a junior programmer.
Yeah.
Because I'd just be the world's worst programmer, honestly. But it, like, you know, the soft skills that I developed from all the various kind of jobs that I had before, and what I've been told is my natural bossy nature, kind of lent itself to production and working on the production team. And at the time at Hammerhead, there was two producers. There was Perrin, who is a lead, and then there was Sophie, who is also a lead. And like they were like the best mentors that I could have ever hoped to have. And they really like Sophie was amazing. I think she works at Sumo Digital now. She taught me so much when I went in, and she really took the time to, you know, bring me on board and teach me everything that she knew about running teams and running projects and getting everything delivered on time, managing clients, like all the kind of stuff that you would need to know. Like she was there, and she like had my back in every sense, and gave me the confidence to kind of, you know, put myself forward for stuff in the future rather than kind of being asked to do stuff. I was then suggesting stuff. And yeah, it just kind of evolved from there, really.
So did Hammerhead kind of like push you, like did you kind of find a niche in Hammerhead or a bit in Hammerhead that you could sort of fit in when you got into producing, or was that just where you were at that time?
No, it was basically what seemed to fit me best as a person. And I mean, I've always said like people just always need more producers. Like I think there's a common misconception that producers like add more process, but a good producer really should be removing as much process as possible and allowing all of the talented people and, you know, facilitating that movement to get stuff done. And that was how I learned. And at Hammerhead, like they really gave me the opportunity to just jump in and do stuff. Like I ran my first project. I think it was like a year in after becoming an intern. So I think I joined, and then like maybe less than a year later, I was like kind of leading my first project, which is crazy. Like what company would ever give you like an intern a chance to run a whole project as a producer? Like they really, really let me just like, they give me trust, and I think that like I appreciate that so much. I definitely wouldn't be kind of where I am now without the trust and the ability to grow that the company gave me.
And given that Hammerhead, now Dimension, are like more of a media production company, they sort of specialize in volumetric content through a variety of mediums. Was this crucial in deciding like sort of what you wanted to do next, or did you always have like the video games industry in mind as your end game?
I super was not married to the idea of working in games. Like games was probably, and playing video games and, you know, absorbing game content and stuff like that was probably always my main hobby. But I wasn't like, I love all sorts of things. I love comics. I love like movies. I love TV. I love YouTube.
Yeah.
Like I you know, I didn't have this like desperate burning desire to only work on games, which is why I think Hammerhead was such a great fit for me, because while I was there, I got to work on so many things. Like we got to work on with like different IPs from TV shows and movies. I worked on stuff in museums and aquariums.
Oh, that's so cool.
And yeah, it was like we weren't just like making video games, we were making all of this cool media content for people to enjoy in different ways, and it was just really great. Like the variety was something that really fulfilled me, and moving on to a different project like every few months was really exciting as well, because it was like, once we've tied this one up, what are we going to do next?
Yeah, because I looked at the website, and I mean, obviously like now dimension, but like, yeah, they worked with like London Fashion Week and stuff. Like it's really was quite versatile in what they actually offered, and like the experience must have just been fun, really.
It was really fun. Like it can feel stressful when you're working for like really high profile clients and you've got these kind of like big deal deliveries, but at the same time, like I took a lot of enjoyment in the variety and getting to, try my hand at various different things. It was really great.
So now you're at Square Enix Collective, and you're working as a producer. Does the job that you have now differ that much from the producer role that you had at Hammerhead?
It's like so different. It could be a completely different job title because for all of the different things that I do. As a producer at Hammerhead, I was kind of like overseeing the project getting done from the day to day, kind of solving problems for the team, making sure all the deliveries are right and all the kind of stuff like that. And in my current role in the collective, it's like, we're doing a little bit of biz dev, we're doing a bit of like team management, we're working with the, developers and the indies that we work with to get their stuff out the door. And like our main goal is to make sure that these awesome games reach a really big audience. So we've got different priorities, even though the end goal is obviously the same, is to make awesome stuff. It's like doing that in a totally different capacity. So I think like the soft skills transfer over, and like the producer mindset is something that like always kind of stays the same because you have like the same things in mind, like, this needs to be done on time, and it's all about communication and facilitating communication between other people. So that's the same, but like day to day, it's like completely different.
And I noticed that now you've been certified as a Scrum Master. Do you feel like these sort of professional qualifications are important for improving your skills and showcasing your talents?
I wouldn't necessarily say that doing the Scrum qualification improved my skills. I feel like it acts as evidence of them.
Gotcha.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it's like you go on this like 2-day course, and I was expecting to like have my mind blown and like come out of it this like big shot producer, like I know so many things now. And it was like, because it's like they're really expensive, these courses. Like they're so expensive. They're prohibitively expensive for somebody who, for example, might think that they need it to get a job. I was lucky that my company paid for me to do the certification to, kind of like enhance my skills and give me new ideas for running teams. But I definitely wouldn't suggest that someone needed it to be a producer or to work in production. And certainly most of the things that I learned from that qualification were all self-taught, because you do the exam on your own time. And it's all kind of like self-taught learning through like the booklets they gave you didn't really like, I don't know, like it definitely helps me. I've noticed like since I got it, I get a lot more messages from recruiters on LinkedIn. But I don't think that in my own capacity, I don't think that it really changed anything. I was, like I said, I was really lucky. I had great mentors and great practices to learn from in the first place. While on the job, getting that qualification didn't teach me anything additional, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that you say that actually, because I actually just did a Adobe course, because for the longest time I've been working with this other program called Sony Vegas Pro, which is like it's the poor man's Premiere. Like Premiere and Final Cut Pro are like the top dogs in like video editing, whereas like Vegas is just kind of like the Paint Shop Pro, really. Like, and I used that too a long time ago.
We've all done our time on Paint Shop Pro.
Yeah. Oh, Paint Shop Pro. That was great. Good times. But yeah, so I knew a lot about video editing going in, obviously, because I had years of experience now doing it, but I couldn't really use Premiere for some reason. My brain couldn't go around it. So I was just like, let me just do this course. But it was like £1,000 for this 5-day course. And then I did pick up like a few things from it. Like I can actually use Premiere now, which I couldn't really before because I couldn't get my brain around it. But yeah, it's so much of it I already knew. Yeah. And it is that thing where I'm paying £1,000 for like little small tidbits of stuff. And now, well, I haven't taken the test yet because coronavirus hasn't let me. Yeah. But it is that thing where you just sort of think like, yeah, like it's worth it, but it's like not worth it at the same time.
Yeah, so like I have thought that about stuff like Jira and things like that. Like obviously you
Mm.
can do like Jira qualifications or even something like qualifications on programs like for 3D modeling, things like that. And I'm like, oh, maybe I need to take one of these courses to do it. And it's like actually like the resources available on YouTube
Yeah.
and blogs and things like that have been so valuable in teaching me all the skills that I need to take into that I saved myself $1,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, again, it's like trusting the
Mm.
information is out there and already readily available. Because yeah, I
Mm.
could have done a YouTube video.
But the qualifications speak for themselves, I guess, when you're
Yeah.
doing something as time like job hunting.
Yeah.
Like people like to see that on CVs as like a proof that you're capable
Exactly.
rather than kind of trusting that you're capable, I guess.
It's such an interesting word, though. Did they actually explain, like, what is a scrum? It sounds like I don't
It's
know.
like Scrum's the name. It's a type of agile methodology. I don't know if I'm just
Okay.
like talking like total hokey pokey stuff now, but
Yeah.
basically it's just a methodology for organizing workflow. We work in an agile way, which means that it's not like waterfall where you kind of like plan everything out day by day and then everything
Mm.
has to hit it. It means that, at the end of 2 weeks, if certain things haven't been done, then you kind of reevaluate what
Mm.
your end goal is and how you can achieve that by like cutting stuff back or changing stuff up, etc. Scrum's just a type of that, really. It feels like having the qualification like legitimized my experience, if that makes
Mm.
sense,
Yeah.
and more so than it taught me how to do anything.
Exactly. So, on your LinkedIn, you compare being a producer to being playing a sim management game, essentially. So that begs the question: what is your favorite simulation game?
I had to think about this, and my favorite sim game is Tropico.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, I think because, and if I'm comparing this to my job, like fighting off natural disasters and political unrest is
Mm,
something producers do on a daily basis.
yeah, I think
So
that's
like,
fair enough.
yeah, it's not just kind of like juggling hot potatoes and stuff like that. Like, it's not like, City Builder or whatever, like even The Sims in a way where like kind of things just kind of coast along happily. It's like, oh, but there's a tornado. Oh no, like someone's doing a military coup. And it's like, I don't know,
Whoops.
I find that really exciting. I don't play as many sim games as I used to. Like, I
Yeah.
used to play a lot, especially when I was younger and playing like Theme Hospital and like Roller
Oh,
Coaster Tycoon and stuff
so
like that.
good.
And it's cool because like all those games have had like such a massive resurgence recently with like kind of remakes and stuff like that, like 2 Point Hospital. I'm just like looking at that, like must have spent like hundreds of hours on Theme Hospital as a kid. Like, why haven't
Mm,
I played 2 Point Hospital yet? But yeah, Tropico is
it's
definitely the
hard.
one that like comes to the front of my mind just because I love how crazy it is.
If I'm
And
honest, I've never actually played Tropico. I don't think I've like come across it.
it's so fun. It's like you get to kind of pick a type of leader and then you like run stuff on like an island somewhere and you kind of build up the economy and the infrastructure and
That's
you
so
can
cool.
yeah, and you can like decide whether you want to be like a dictatorship or like an oligarchy or like a republic or whatever. It's really neat.
I'll
Like
have to check it out because it does look fun.
yeah, I've always had fun playing Tropico, and I always return to it every so often and play it for like 5 hours, and I'm like, wow, I'm like sweating and I'm exhausted. I really need to
I
like
know.
put this game down.
I know. It is the thing. You have to like sort of get your fix and then you're just like, all right, I've got it out of my system. Okay, I got to stop now.
Absolutely right. Yeah.
I've started just sitting every day in my pajamas and I have crumbs all over the place. Nope, nope, nope. This needs to stop. This needs to stop.
Yeah. That's me with Animal Crossing at the moment. It's
Oh
like
my God, yeah.
wake up at 8, play Animal Crossing for a solid hour, and I'm like, oh God, I need to start work. Gotta get ready. Ah!
I know. Oh, I need to get into that because I don't have we don't have a Nintendo Switch. We're a Switchless family. Please adopt us. No, but yeah, no, we don't have one, and I keep seeing Animal Crossing everywhere, and I'm just I really want to play it, but I know it's gonna kill me, but I really want to play it. My daughter's loved it.
Animal Crossing is like self-care. It is just the nicest game to kind of finish your day with and just go around, talk to your villagers and pick some flowers and catch some fish and
And sell turnips. I hear turnips are very, very conflicting at the moment.
I don't think we want to get me started on the stock market. So
How dare
wait,
they?
every Sunday I get way too stressed about the turnips. So yeah.
That is our Sunday conflict.
Yeah, messaging every single one of my friends, like, what are your turnip prices? Like,
Yeah.
open your gates.
Open up. I'm coming in.
Yeah. Banging on the door, yeah. That's me now every Sunday. It's like, what are your turnip prices? I can trade you this if you let me in. Like, it's pretty bad.
Times are great.
Yeah, I mean, what else am I going to do, right? It's not like I can go out for a walk.
No. I just need some pixelized turnips to sell.
Exactly.
So I remember when Square Enix actually set up the collective, and I just always thought it was such a cool concept that you could essentially pitch your idea for an indie game, and then Square Enix would basically submit it to the fans to be like, do you want to vote for this? Like, do you want to see this game being done? And I just thought it was such a cool thing to incorporate like fans into deciding. Well, first, just letting people come in with pitches for games anyway, but then also allowing fans to be able to decide, I want to see that game. I really want to see that game. Is this something that appealed to you when you applied for the role?
Yeah, so when I applied for the role, obviously that was kind of like one of the main things on the website, like you're talking about, like the Square Enix community voting on what games that they would like to play and like to see, and kind of testing the waters for those indie teams who might be considering, currently taking their game to Kickstarter or something, get a litmus test for whether it would be successful or not. As I joined the studio, I realized that that's not actually how things are done anymore.
Okay.
The website is like years out of date. Which is what I mentioned before, like hopefully we'll get a new website soon, in the next few days maybe. But yeah, so the fan voting thing was like a great thing in the age of Steam Greenlight, where you could kind of test the waters for whether there was a community there ready to receive your game, and know that when you put it out, there'd be people there willing to buy it, which could then propel popularity and help marketing and such like that. Since things changed and Steam went to Steam Direct, and now anyone can publish, which is, I think, fantastic, but it means that there's a whole sea of new things to try out there, which makes it really hard for indies to get their head above the water and make their game stand out to people who now may have thousands of games in their Steam library. And that's not including people who play things on console and might not even check kind of console web stores and things like that for digital downloads. So it was something that made me really interested in the group in the first place. I don't think that working in AAA was something that really interested me. So working as part of a team who were in a larger entity, working with indies and leveraging that community to support these kind of unique games, that to me, that made me really excited. I was really interested in that, and yeah, that's one thing that got me interested. But when I came, obviously that things have changed a lot now. The climate and the way to get your game out there isn't the same as it was a few years ago. So what we're doing in the collective now is kind of hearing pitches and kind of experiencing lots and lots of indie games, talking to teams and stuff like that. And if we think this is something that we can help bring to a wider audience to make a success and to get the, whether this is the team's first game or third game or fifth game, kind of get them set up to keep making cool new stuff, to keep their own IP and to, keep generating those amazing creative games, that's something that we really want to work with and want to help. So I don't know if I just waffled on too much there.
No.
I think I'd lost track of what I was trying to say.
I mean, it is really crazy to have that situation where it's kind of gone like Amazon publishing, isn't it? The fact that anybody can publish a book,
right, yeah.
How can you really say to people, oh wait, go through us, and but I can already do that anyway. So but it is interesting as well that Square Enix haven't given up and they've just said let's just help them anyway. But I mean, it is a shame. It is a shame to sort of nix the voting system, but that's the thing. Things happen and, things have to kind of go with the times.
Definitely. And while that wasn't necessarily like a viable solution anymore, and it's increasingly difficult if you're not already tied to a big IP or have a big partner to be successful on Kickstarter as a new game company as well. It's like, how do you get noticed? And that's one thing that I think that our team can really help with. We can like use the Square Enix community and leverage the support of a big company to put these amazing games out there and, you know, help them reach an audience and help them reach all the people they deserve, you know?
Absolutely.
And that's the whole ethos behind it, really. Like, we just want to help awesome games get audiences and find success.
I mean, it must be exciting to see all the various projects that studios bring forward as well, either based off of Square Enix's existing IPs or something fresh. But it must also make it quite dynamic, as there's lots of opportunities to work with small teams around the world. How are you able to adapt to the different sort of working styles and relationships that you need to have?
For me, coming from Hammerhead and having a background in like working with multiple clients at the same time, it's like that's kind of like one similarity that I've brought over. It's like, you know, everyone has their own way of working and their own needs for communication. And I think that's one thing that is serving me well in this role, because I'm so used to kind of finding the right fit with the team that we're working with, and then, you know, building a really good partnership on top of that, because like you say, everyone has different needs, and you know, the teams that come to us, it's not cookie cutter, they don't all want the same thing, and it's, you know, down to us to kind of like use our team to find where they need the help and the support, and to give that to them.
So having those skills and adaptability also helped manage the current situation. I mean, the fact that GDC and REST have both been postponed. How much has that affected how you handle your job?
Obviously, it means that we can't meet the teams in person, and we can't necessarily get like that individual like vibe, because, you know, meeting people in person, you can kind of communicate easier. Yeah, you get it. And, you know, these are teams that we could be working with up to a few years, and we want to know that, you know, everyone in the situation wants to get along, and we all want to know that we're working together with people who we can trust and we can communicate with easily. So it is difficult, but it's not like, you know, indies come to us and then they have one meeting and we decide if we like them or not. It's like not like that at all. It's like a much more fluid conversation. Like, some pitches are more structured than others and some are more conversational. And then I guess it's a situation of if there's a team that we really like and a project we really believe in, we continue that conversation and we get to know them and we get to know the project. And, you know, this is something that we really want to be familiar with so that we can ensure that we can give the best advice and give the project the best chance at success. So I would say it's probably not changed that much, because also we're working with teams from all over the world, not just in the UK. So at the moment, like, one of the projects we're working on is Circuit Superstars, and the team there's based in Vancouver. That's like not commutable distance from London, really. So it's it's that our day-to-day with that team hasn't changed, other than checking in on them, finding out if they're healthy, if they're okay, if they have everything they need, if there's any other support that we need to give them, by, like, you know, whether that's getting in touch with first parties or, you know, sorting out kind of like, you know, moving around deadlines and things like that to make sure that they've got the most support to make their awesome game.
Yeah. And how important do you feel indie games are to the wider gaming industry?
They're the most important thing, I think, because they're crucibles for creativity. That sounded way too soundbitey, even though, like...
But it's true, though.
But like, I absolutely, like, everyone has it in them to make an indie game, and everyone, it gives people from kind of like all backgrounds, and no matter where they're from or what they want to say, you know, it's the ability to put a game out there and have other people receive it. And indies are constantly innovating in ways that bigger companies might not necessarily believe in or trust, which, you know, allows for kind of like new things to come up all the time. I think a lot of indie games are deeply personal as well, which can, you know, give a new side to emotionally connecting with games as well as having fun, because I don't necessarily think all good games have to be fun. different games have different things to tell the audience.
Yeah, different levels. Like that, I always forget the name. Florence. Have you heard of that?
Okay. I like you saying that name like triggers something in me, but it's not something I played myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's what I mean. Like, that wouldn't be published by, your kind of Activision or whatever, but it's reaching an audience and, people understand it and resonate with it and enjoy it. And it's the freedom to make that stuff, right? That like if you're owning your own studio and you're owning your own IP, you can do what you want with it. You can tell that story that you want to tell. Or you can do R&D and play with a mechanic that might not fit straight away, but given your own time, hammering away at that, like, you could get there in a way that like a bigger company might be like, this isn't working, we can't spend the resource on it, kind of done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is what makes it so sad though, that like these like Rezzed and GDC that they just couldn't happen this year, because it must just be so devastating to just not be able to make those contacts where you think that you could make a statement,
Definitely. And, we've done everything that we can to try and like make those bridges so people can come to us, and that, they're not losing out as much as they might have previously. We want to be able to talk to everyone, and we want to make it clear to everyone that we're available. Just reach out to us, send us an email or drop me a DM or whatever. And
I did see you on Twitter, your tweet about like everybody, like, I'm still accepting pitches, I'm still here.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, because people go to spaces assuming that that's going to be the case, but when it doesn't happen, it's like, where do I go? How do I get in touch with people? Like, it's not like my email's out there, but I want people to know, just like send me a DM. And like, I'm so happy, like lots of people felt that they could reach out to me and, say like, we'd really like a meeting. And it makes me so happy that like we can have those personable moments, even if they aren't in person.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's and I hope we can continue to do that, even though after, this whole situation is kind of like past and we're having events again, we're available all the time.
You're always there. Square Enix Collective.
We're there for you.
We're there for you. And as a sort of final note, are there any indie games on the horizon that you're looking forward to or excited to play?
See, that's like really hard because like I've like seen so many pitches and so many things in the work that I'm like super excited about.
Yeah, but it's like, yeah, you can't.
I know. But like what? So there's some that I wouldn't say necessarily that are on the horizon that aren't out yet, but like there's some that I haven't been able to play yet. So like I did Indie Mega Booth judging last year, which was so good. I really hope that I could do it again this year. Where I played like a whole bunch of games for the like Indie Mega Booth program, and got to try so many things that I never ever would have picked up otherwise, and it's made me really
so cool when you can do that.
Yeah, and it's like you play demos and you kind of like give a commentary and give a review on them and stuff like that. And I played so many things that got landed in my inbox that I never would have necessarily picked up myself, and it made me really excited about a bunch of projects that I just I wouldn't have given 2 minutes to otherwise. But what one game I am really looking forward to playing is Get in the Car Loser. It's Christine Love's game. She's made some amazing visual novels that I'm like a really big fan of, and I'm kind of into visual novels, and she's kind of like a virtuoso in that scene. And this game looks so fun, and I'm really looking forward to playing that one. I haven't had a chance to play it yet. I don't even know if it's out yet, actually. I need to find out.
What was it called again?
It's called Get in the Car Loser.
Get in the Car Loser. That sounds cute.
Yeah, it looks so cute, and her writing is amazing, and I've always been such a huge fan of her games. So that if there was one thing that I would say that I'm looking forward to playing, it's that one.
But yeah, thank you so much for coming on, and it was really great to talk to you about everything that you do. And yeah, I think that you're kick-ass and you're really inspiring.
Oh, I'm so embarrassed now.
No, don't be embarrassed.
Yeah, I think like I still feel like a noob, so it's like really like I'll blush.
Oh no, it's just the thing though. Like it's doing stuff like that, like leaving when you're feeling unhappy in a career. It's a hard a hard decision because, as you said, like you did give up quite a few other things. Like you had to move back in with your parents and feel that sort of like unsafeness in that regard.
Yeah. And I will say, like, I feel lucky that I was being able to do that. Like, I'm incredibly privileged that, you know, I was able to move back in with my parents.
Yeah.
Like the fact that I could just like end my lease and move back home and take a pay cut and not have to worry about all the things that you normally have to worry about, like that's, you know, that's luck. And that's good fortune. I certainly don't want to pretend that that was like necessarily a difficult decision because not everyone gets that chance. And I think that was it. It was like identifying that there was a chance for change and cashing in on it.
And like it's so important that parents have their kids back with those kind of things as well.
Definitely. And, you know, I'm really lucky. I'm so blessed that my parents were just like, oh, fine, you're coming back for the third time. Just like,
come on back.
Yeah, just come back and do it and we'll support you. We don't understand it, but, you know we can tell that it's going to make you happy. So I'm really, really grateful to my parents for fully kind of supporting me with that. And yeah, it's nice to know that, like, even though they don't get it, they're always cheerleaders. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah, and when I left when I left to move to London, my mum was just like, I'm not coming to help you move back. And I was like, God,
thanks.
Please don't say that. I was like, I don't want to have to move back now. Like,
I know.
Will be it.
This will stick.
This will stick. Yeah, something's got to stick. Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. Thank you so much.
No. Thanks for having me. It's been really, really great to chat. And, you know, I've loved your podcast for so long, so it's like a real honor to be on it now.
That's it for this episode of She Plays Games. Be sure to follow Lauren on Twitter at LaurenHNTR. Also, if you want more episodes of She Plays Games, please be sure to subscribe and follow me on iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube by searching She Plays Games, and on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at She Plays Podcast. Also, if you want to be on the show or want to nominate someone to come on the show, you can email me at sheplayspodcast@gmail.com. See you all next time on She Plays Games.